Falcons, Jaguars, the London game, the early morning game. The game I always forget about. I'm going to be honest with you. I always wake up, do a bunch of chores, do breakfast, and then turn on the TV, and it's halftime. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. There's a game? I always forget. So I may end up catching this game early this time. But again, Falcons, Jaguars. Jaguars somehow are favored to win this game. Based on how they're playing, I don't know how. -3, over under 43.5, money line, plus 135 for Atlanta, -160 for Jacksonville. Barrett, I'll start with you. Betting aside, well, obviously not betting aside. We'll talk about bets first. We'll talk about the Jaguars surprisingly not being good.
They're not being good in the red zone. That's the biggest thing. They're not finishing the deal, which is kind of crazy because we know Dougie P and how he harps on that. You know, that's one of the things that he harps on the most is being effective in the red zone. You got a premier running back who I thought was premier, and I've been riding, Travis Etienne for the past 3 weeks now, and I've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, been run amok for the past week. So I'm not going with it this week. I'm not doing it. I am going to the opposite side. I'm putting my money on Desmond Ridder now. He doesn't even have to throw for 200 yards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got to go with Desmond Ridder. And plus, at this point, I'm thinking that Calvin Ridley, him being on the other side, is only going to make them want to play even harder as a receiver on the other side. So London has a great game also.
You and I are the same. So you love Travis Etienne, and I've loved Calvin Ridley every week. And every week they just continue to disappoint. But I actually thought of you, Barrett, because I think if there's going to be a week, like a breakout week for Travis Etienne, it could be this week because the Falcons' pass defense is better than their run defense.
Yep.
So, me and Trevor Lawrence hasn't been able to do much in that Jags offense in the red zone, like we just mentioned. So I'm thinking maybe Dougie P gets some sense and is like, all right, Travis is going to get the ball. I can't say Travis without thinking of Travis Kelce now. Thank you, Taylor Swift, for that. Travis Etienne's going to get the ball. So I think he has a potential to be a big role player this game, but we've also predicted that and failed now, 3 weeks in a row?
3 strikes and you're out. I am out. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're out?
I got to be out.
Okay.
I've lost my $10 bet the past 3 weeks.
Hey, I'm confused on Bijan. I'm gonna be honest with you. I want to pick him. It's something with the rookie backs. Jahmyr Gibbs too. Now I know Montgomery was killing it before him. I'm just like, I don't know how much you're gonna get the rock. You know what I mean? Like week to week, I feel like I should be betting for you to get 100 yards and this and that. But then all of a sudden, the guy ahead of you or behind you, depending on what situation you're in, running back wise, gets more carries than I think, and then I don't hit.
Well, he's good though.
I know, but I'm like, it's about his usage as opposed to like I want to bet him to be 100 yards and a touch.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But the Falcons' run attack is just so like they have so many different options that I don't know if he'll ever have like a massive game like that. It did just come off his quietest game so far as a rookie in the NFL, so like he could bounce back against the Jags. You don't know.
He could, but again, it makes me nervous. So I'm
does.
Still not on board. Again, I'm gonna wait. I'll probably have to wait until week 8 to understand how much they're gonna use these cats and not use these cats when it comes to Bijan, some of those rookies. So I'm gonna avoid that. I'm going with the Falcons too. I'm going with the Falcons too, just because at Jacksonville I can't trust you right now. I can't trust anything that you're doing. Again, we'll talk about some props and what's going on, but I think I am going to hammer some of the running game. And with both, you could have a bet of both backs going over 40 yards for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yes.
And I think that's a bet that I feel confident in because I think they're going to really hammer the run. And I don't think Jacksonville is going to be able to stop it enough.
So I know we just talked about how Dougie P and the Jags kind of failed us all in week 3, but I am actually taking the Jags -3 in this one. I think that it's going to come down to who has the better passing offense. And it is the Jags, even though they haven't done well in the red zone. They've disappointed. The Falcons still don't have a great game through the air. They're all about that run game with the offense that they're running right now. So I think that the Jags have the advantage here.
They do. Jacksonville do show signs of life with their defense every once in a while. They look like, man, they're a dominating defense. So you never know. But I don't know, man. It's just up in the air with that game simply because it's over the water. I'm going with Atlanta and the points, but still, it's just a bad situation over there. I just see so many holes in Jacksonville, I got to go with Atlanta.
Listen, I'm out here. I want to go with Jacksonville also, but they've lost me money and eat the first 3 weeks. So I'm going to stay away for right now. And if they get a win, then I'll be back on board with better than them. And by the way, free Kyle Pitts. Let me just put that out there before we move on. Free my man Kyle Pitts. He deserves better. Let's go to Steelers-Texans. Steelers 2-1, -3. Over under 42. I'm surprised that this is so close. Steelers-Texans. I know the Texans played a really good game last week, but I just think the Steelers are a team that's going to be searching for the playoffs, as opposed to the Texans are just going to surprise some teams. I know CJ Stroud is CJ Stroud, but he's going against a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that he hasn't seen before. So I'm surprised that this game is this close, even though it's at Houston. Pitt -150, Houston +125. Dev, what you think on this?
I like the Steelers -3 in this one. The Texans are a confusing team, and I think part of it is just personal bias for me. I just think of the Texans as, being this terrible team.
Losers.
And then I look at the numbers that, CJ Stroud can put up. He put up 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 118 rating last week.
Good.
He's a rookie quarterback. That's pretty good. The Steelers just got absolutely gouged by Devontae Adams on the Raiders, but they still won. And I think I have a bad taste in my mouth with Pittsburgh from week 1 because Barrett and I predicted that the Steelers are
going to be
improved and going to be competitive.
Right.
And they
Told
weren't.
You that was going to happen.
Well, no, but they weren't in week 1, but then they have been playing better football. But they also haven't been playing, teams that are the 49ers. I do think they're the better team in this matchup, and this spread is not that large, so I like the Steelers covering.
I'm going with it, because I love the Pickett, connection with, Pickens. George Pickens is starting to come out of his shell now. He showed me something against when they played the Browns. I think this is a game which they come out. He really comes out of his shell. The offensive line in Pittsburgh is starting to play a lot better. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I like the second team back. I like Jaylen Warren. He's like a bowling ball, but he is cat quick, super quick. So I'm going with that running game. I'm also going with the Steelers winning, going with the points also.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. I think the Steelers with the points. I think they're going to dominate this matchup. Okay, they fell on their face against the 49ers, but outside of that, they're a good team that's going to reach for the playoffs. The Texans are surprising people. The Steelers ain't going to be surprised. All right, CJ Stroud, that's enough. Here go TJ Watt. You know what I mean?
Right.
Here go TJ, who's trying to make a case that he's better than JJ, which is crazy, right? So yeah, I think that's going to be all the way. I like Najee Harris to go.
I think he's leading right now as far as defensive MVP too.
Yeah. So and I like Najee to go over 55.5 rushing. You know what I mean? I think they're going to pound the rock and do what they do. Listen, we're going to come up with some more games. We got Dolphins-Bills, which may be the game of the week coming up. So we're going to talk about the Dolphins-Bills. And don't forget, $10 bonus bet. All right, BetMGM, that's what they do. We're going to tell you at some point what our bonus bet is. You already know what mine is if you watch the show, but we'll get to that later, all right? So it's the Sunday spread presented by BetMGM. Sean Bell, Devan Kaney, Barrett Brooks. We'll be right back. Once again, breaking news for the Sunday spread. It has nothing to do with sports. It's something that Kev put in our chat, so I want to talk about it. It's not breaking news. It happened a couple days ago, but I want to express this real quick before we get into the next game. Ian Rappaport reportedly, Las Vegas police say they arrested a man on suspicion of the murder of Tupac.
What? That is huge.
But
wait, you mean that's not breaking news today? That was a couple days ago?
Yes.
That is breaking news to me.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
What's going on here? Well, first of all.
That's been 15 years ago?
Yeah, but the hood has always known.
Right.
And I felt like that was dealt with kind of. So I'm curious again. We're not able to read the report. I didn't read the report, but come on. What's going on here?
We already knew who did it. It's about time they went and got him.
Yeah. But that was, street politics. So I'm curious on how this actually works and what goes on from here.
So all the conspiracy theories have been wrong?
I think he's in Cuba. I don't think anything's wrong. Well, he's in Cuba chilling. All right? Let that man live. Let that man breathe and have fun. You know what I mean? Tupac in Cuba. We'll see one day. He's going to resurrect. He's going to come back to the street. So, again, we'll see what happens with that. But let's actually go into some more sports content. And the game of the week, arguably, Dolphins-Bills. All right, Dolphins 3-0, Bills 2-1. Bills, of course, lost their first game of the year, but then have been great after that. Top 5 offense, top 5 defense. Bills actually favored in this game because
how does that happen?
It's at Buffalo, so it's minus 2.5. If you're at home, you get 3 points. So it's sort of like we think the Dolphins would normally win, but we're gonna give it to the Bills because 3 points, et cetera, et cetera. The over/under 53.5. Money line, Detroit, money line, Dolphins minus 145, Bills plus 120. B. Brooks. Again, Dolphins hung 70, dog.
How do you put a 70 burger on somebody
70
and you're favored? I mean, you're not favored. How is that? You're undefeated and you're not favored.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're at home or not. To me, this is mind-blowing. What do they know in Vegas? What do they know? Because at this point, it just doesn't make sense to me. You got the fastest squad in the NFL, and you're not favored in this game?
Well, let me ask you this. The Dolphins getting 70, does that say more about the Dolphins or more about the Broncos letting up 70?
That was my thought as well, because, like, I feel like the Broncos just gave up there, you know. I mean, I don't even know towards the end, probably like halfway through the game, right, if not earlier. I'm not taking anything away from the Dolphins. That was incredible. I mean, hanging 70 points is absolutely bonkers. But the Broncos are also not, the Buffalo Bills. I don't think the Buffalo Bills are going to roll over like that.
Yeah. How is their defensive coordinator? My dog is my frat brother. Me and him are like this. And how is he not fired right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, Vance Joseph had a 70 burger on it. That's number one. But number two, I understand what you guys are saying because you look at the Bills. The Bills had 9 sacks, 4 interceptions, but they played the Commanders.
Yeah.
Sam Howell, come on now.
Yeah.
4 interceptions and 9 sacks. That means their defense is balling, but can they keep up? And I understand the history, what you've seen with Miami and the Bills. But still, man, Tua's playing at too high of a level. He's got too many horses that really can run a race.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they got the fastest squad in the league. And they said most would say he's the fastest guy in the NFL. He's faster than Tyreek Hill and all of them. Waddle, all of them.
That's going to be, again, over. You say that, 53.5 over.
But,
I know the Bills are a top 5 defense, but over.
And they didn't allow a single score last week aside from a field goal. Yeah. So it's kind of like the polar opposites of each other.
Right.
I get that the Bills are favored because they're playing at home. I do have the Dolphins plus 2.5 in this one. I think that it's going to be a close game. I cannot believe that this game is on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It should absolutely be the primetime game.
Flex this.
Yeah, and I also I was all about the Raheem Mostert prop bets, and I should have really hammered those home because I would have. Yeah, I only did over yards and 1 anytime touchdown. He ended up scoring a million more. I think he's going to have another big game on the ground because the Buffalo Bills have a good
the Buffaloes. I like that.
They have a good defense, but if there's a weak point, their run defense is definitely not as strong as their secondary. They're allowing the most yards per carry in the league. Before the Commanders stopped running Brian Robinson because the Bills got up so much on them, they're allowing 7 yards per run from him, and he put up 70 yards on the ground just in the time that he was running last week from the Commanders. So I think Raheem Mostert and that Dolphins run game have a chance to go off against the Bills.
I'm looking at these receiver overs. I'm looking at Tyreek Hill at 88.5. My big thing is Stephon Diggs at 80.5. To me, that's a lot, bro. That's a lot.
But that's because they feel like it's going to be catch up, and there's just going to be a lot of throwing, and they're going to have to catch up with them. So Stephon Diggs being that number 1 target.
And I'm also saying I don't see H in there either. The other running back from Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see his numbers because he's a beast as far as H-in, Texas A&M.
Yeah, it's not on the board right now.
It's not on the board right now. So I thought he would have been made the board this last game the way he played also.
Again, I'm going over 53.5. I'm going James Cook over 56.5.
I like that too.
I think the Buffalo Bills are going to say, listen, he's so far averaging 6.5 per so far this season. And I think part of the Bills' game plan is y'all ain't going to get the ball that much. Don't think you're going to get the ball, You know what I mean? It's going to be keep a little bit of keep away, even though they trust their defense. So they're going to run the ball and run it effectively against a Dolphins team that ain't known for D, ain't known for stopping the run game. So I think James Cook is going to get 15 carries, and that 15 carries is going to give him over 56.5 yards. So I like the running game.
On that though. I'm thinking I think Allen's going to be damned if he doesn't outthrow Tua. I think he's going to try to go. Oh, it's me and you, Tua. They'll be yelling at each other from the opposite field. It's me and you. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, James Cook has had over 95 rush yards in back-to-back games, and the number 56.5, pretty low. So I think it could be a mix of both for the Bills, Barrett, to your point. Like, I think that they're going to I think they're going to mix in as long as neither team goes up by too much. I think it'll be a good mix of running and passing.
And I'm going to go with anytime touch for James Cook, too. Wow. I just think he's going to have a big game. I really think they're going to focus on that.
Yeah.
So you said you're picking the Dolphins.
I'm picking the Dolphins to cover the spread, 2.5.
UB Brooks.
I'm a big contrarian. Oh,
okay.
I'm going with the Bills. I'm going with their defense. 9 sacks, 4 interceptions this last week. I think they're going to go out there and slow things down a little bit. I mean, because they've shown the consistency of playing well against Miami. So, I'm going to go with the Bills. I think the Bills going to make this happen.
Well, our producer, Kevin, just said teams that score 60 or more are 1-6 straight up and 0-7 against the spread in their next game.
Are you kidding me? Oof. Wow.
It's a really good stat.
Oof. Wow, that's a huge stat.
Yeah.
I may be right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to double down on the Bills at this point. Jeez Louise, that's a great stat to look at. All right, so again, I'm going with the Bills also. I just think they're gonna be like, listen, hold up. Every team has had a real bump in the road so far this season, except 3, obviously.
We're gonna get a text halfway through the game. They've got 40 up on them already.
Ooh, I'll throw my remote at the TV if that's the case. Let's get to the next game. Let's get to from the best game to the worst game. I mean, I don't even know how much time we can even spend on this. Broncos Bears.
Oh, y'all Clash of the Titans
suck. Like this is all time trash. This is garbage truck pickup. Throw it in the back. This is disgusting.
You know what this is? This is Clash of the number 1 pick. That's what.
Yeah.
Clash of the number 1 pick. Whoever wins this game is 1 game away from being the number 1 pick.
Yeah. Not much to say about this one. I do think because of the home field advantage, for 2 teams just like completely lacking any sort of confidence, 2 teams that got embarrassed to say the least. One of them in front of Taylor Swift. I mean, how demoralizing is that? I like the Bears covering, winning. Who cares?
You say who cares?
I mean, I can't even get myself to say it with like, I'm not going to bet on this game.
I mean, this is one of those games like which coaching staff keeps their job. This game is what coaching staff keeps their job. I mean, I know both coaching staffs are young. As far as being with the teams, and Sean is my guy. Sean Payton. He was with me. He was my quarterback coach when I first got in the league. So me and him are close. Good dude, man. But like I said, Vance Joseph is my guy. You know what I'm saying? We played against each other in college. He went to Colorado. Did you know he's a defensive coordinator, but he was a quarterback in college?
Oh,
at Colorado. Yeah, University of Colorado. Yeah.
How do you make that transition?
Well, I don't know. I guess he played receiver. He went to the league as a receiver to the Jets, and became a coach and transferred himself over. I guess. Huh. I mean, but he was a quarterback in college.
Let me ask you this.
Both he and each other. Mickey went to Nebraska, was a quarterback. You've
been on successful teams.
Yep.
Have you ever been on a team that's in week 3 you were like, we're going to suck? Like all year. Like, and I know most players think they're going to turn things around, but have you ever been on a team where you've been like 3 or 4 weeks into the season?
I was on a 3-13 team.
So you knew, did you know 3-4 weeks in
my
that,
quarterback was Bobby Hoying. He was the worst quarterback I've ever played with. And it's not his fault because Gruden never taught him how to read defenses. He cut the field in half and told him, look, on 3-22 wide stick nod, you throw it to the nod route. And that's what he told him. Every play he told him exactly where to go with the ball. So he didn't read anything. We'd be in practice, we run 3-20 wide stick nod, and Willie Till pick it off. He said, don't worry about it. We're in practice. Don't worry about it. He's good. But you throw the nod route, and he throw it to him, and it was a touchdown. This happened in the year before. Then Gruden left and went to the Raiders as their head coach, and now he has to sit here. We had Dana Bible as our offensive coordinator. The worst. I mean, in fact, he got fired halfway through the season, and Bill Musgraves, who was on a roster the year before.
So you guys went through 3 head coaches in one season?
No, he was offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Offensive coordinator. Dana Bible was so bad he got fired. When he didn't get fired, he just said, "All right, you're gonna come over here and you're gonna do the cards for scout team." And Bill Musgraves, who was a quarterback the year before on somebody else's team, came in, was a quality control guy, became our offensive coordinator halfway through the season.
So what do you do as a player?
We lose.
Like, but I'm saying, like, 13. Are you even
go for self?
Like, what's your attitude? Oh, okay.
You go for self. Yeah. You got to put your best out on the field. Coach say you got to do it this way. Not if it's gonna make me look bad. Not today. Guys were going for self. It was freestyle. We were playing freestyle football. It was crazy. That's why we're so bad.
I can't imagine. Not even my career and anything in life. I've never been on a team where I've been like less than a quarter away. It's over. Yeah. So what do you like? I would have no motive. Like, as a player, I know you're putting your best foot out. But if I was in y'all position, never been in y'all position, obviously, I'd be like, yo, it's drinks, partying, and all type of debauchery for the entire season for me. Bro, like, I'm going out, it's going to be women, it's going to be drinks, it's going to be drugs, it's going to be whatever I want it to be if we are 0-3 and I know we suck.
On the planes coming back, or on the planes, shoot on the planes coming forward, going there. On the planes going there. Hey, you got to get that out there, Kev. On the planes going there. I mean, guys, drinking on the plane. We want to play Arizona, and it's hot. It's in September. It's hot. I mean, it's so hot. It's so hot in Arizona that as soon as you step off the plane, it's like you're melting. Well, there were guys so drunk getting off the plane that they were getting helped off the plane.
Ooh, what?
And we're going to Arizona by halftime.
And then how early or how long before the game was this? Like a day, 2 days?
The next day we played it, but 1 o'clock.
Oh, my God.
The next day at 1 o'clock we playing them. 1 o'clock in that heat. Guys got IVs. Guys got IVs at halftime. Oh, cramp it up. Oh, on the ride back. They still drinking and playing cards, Boo-Ray and everything. It was awful. It was awful.
Barrett, where's the uncut versions? Where's the where's the podcast with the uncut versions where we can hear these stories? That's what I want.
There was Boo-Ray. We're playing Boo-Ray. Boo-Ray, if you get booed, you got to pay the pot, and you got to pay the guy that won the hand.
Oh my God.
There was a pot that was $27,000
for if you got booed.
So if you got booed in Boo-Ray, the pot's $27,000. If you get booed, that means you have to put $27,000 in the pot and give the guy the guy that takes the $27,000, and you have to put $27,000 in the pot if you get booed.
Did you ever lose?
I never played it because I'm not playing that.
I'm fighting somebody.
There's your motivation, Sean. There you go.
Once you got past $5,000, and I got booed, and I had to pay $5,000 one time. Never again.
That game would not go over well in Philadelphia.
Hey, listen, we've heard stories about broken jaws and teammates fighting, and I understand why
it happened on the train
in that particular situation. All right, coming up next, we'll get into games that absolutely matter, like not like the game that we just talked about. All right, we'll talk about the Ravens-Browns. Browns don't look good, but somehow they're 2-1 and look good at the same time. I don't know how that works, but we'll get with the Cleveland Browns. Once again, Sean Bell, Devan Kaney, Barrett Brooks. This is the Sunday Spread presented by BetMGM. And we're back. Once again, this is Sunday Spread presented by BetMGM on the BetQL network. Sean Bell, Barrett Brooks, Devan Kaney kicking with you, giving you the best of the best when it comes to these games, giving you the best bets, giving you the best analysis, and some of the best stories of people losing money and drinking on the way to games. All right, you should hear some of our commercial breaks.
No, you shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't, but you should. At
Black
the same
and miles,
time.
Black and miles.
Exactly. Ravens, Browns. Baltimore traveling to Cleveland. Cleveland actually favored in this game, -3. Over under is 40.5. That's low. Cleveland -150. Baltimore +125. When it comes to the money line, Dev, I'll go to you first. What you thinking about in this game?
So I've been saying this all season. The Browns are good, and mostly thanks to their defense. The Browns' defense is, not to be messed with. And the Ravens are down a couple wide receivers. I believe OBJ was questionable. I haven't seen an update today. I know he didn't practice yesterday. Bateman didn't practice yesterday either. Browns defense allowing fewest yards of every team. They're number one in defensive efficiency in the league. They held Derrick Henry to less than 2 yards a run. And Deshaun Watson on the offensive side of the ball for the Browns is playing pretty well. He had 289 yards, 2 touchdowns last week. When he's blitzed a lot, his rating drops a bit. But Amari Cooper, 90-plus yards in back-to-back games. I just think that this Browns offense has way more weapons than the Ravens because the Ravens are pretty decimated by injury.
Yeah, the Ravens just haven't I predicted that Lamar was going to come back with fury and fire. Mm-hmm. And I know it's Dobbins,
he tried his best.
Injuries.
Yeah.
He tried his best.
I mean, it's not his fault that Tucker missed his field goal.
That's true. But just offensively, I thought they would be a lot more explosive in general. And they just
I agree.
Haven't been that explosive. Wow. You mentioned Deshaun. Again, last week, 27 for 33. Talk about efficiency. All right, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, all things you mentioned, Dev, 77.9 QBR. Is he back? Is he on the road back to being what he was when he was in Houston?
It's looking like it. It's looking like it, yeah.
I think he is because he's getting more comfortable with how they want him to play. They were trying to force feed him into being a quarterback that he's not. He's got to get into being he's not a running quarterback, and if you look at it, I think it was 41 yards. They trying to make him a running quarterback in an offense that's almost like Jalen's offense. He's not that dude. Set him back there. He's a drop-back quarterback. Let him throw the ball down the field. If they do that, it could be a rough game for this this Ravens defense. I like the Ravens defense. I think Queen is one of the best linebackers in the league. I just don't think they have enough firepower. They got too many injuries at this point. I like I like Ford to go off. I like Hunt to go off in this game.
Ford disappointed me last week. I thought Ford was going to have a big week.
I thought he was
Chubb
too.
Was out,
yes.
and Hunt was just brought in. I thought he'd be warming up more. And Ford lost me some parlays in week 3. So maybe he'll heat up against the Ravens.
Game, yes.
Bounce back game. Yeah, there you go.
I really thought he was going to go
me
off too, and he was definitely underwhelming. But this is a game where I think he goes off, and I think at this point you look at what they have. A guy that's floating under the radar right is Goodwin. When he was here, he was trash. Marquise Goodwin, he was trash. But I think he's going to be pretty good in this game coming up because they're going to double Amari Cooper. They're going to double him. I think he's going to be that guy. So.
Yes. I'm picking Cleveland to win this game.
Mm.
Yeah.
Baltimore is just hurt. They're injured. I know Deshaun Watson had a shoulder injury, but he's expected to play. I don't know how much that's going to take off of what he is developing and how he's going to do, but Baltimore, just watching their games, it just, again, I know they're 2-1, have disappointed me, just flat out, have disappointed me. While Cleveland, again, Dev, you mentioned defensively, they punching people in the mouth.
Bro,
yeah.
Myles Garrett is the guy that nobody really talks about when it comes to defensive player of the year, but
I know people don't talk about him,
right?
Or the Browns defense in general. I feel it doesn't get enough recognition. It's always Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, which all credit to them. I'm not taking anything away, but yeah, I think that the Browns are due some credit. Our guy Jim Schwartz holding it down over there.
We crush.
Yeah.
He crushes pros, man. He lets them guys pin their ears back. And Smith, man, once he left Green Bay, he's got a resurgence. He's rushing the passer pretty well. I like what they do on the defensive side of the ball. I really like what they do on the defensive side of the ball. So, I like their defense to go out there. And then you can't just rely on Lamar Jackson to do everything.
Right.
They want him to do everything. They want him to run the ball, throw the ball, catch the ball. They want him to do everything. I'm surprised he's not returning kicks right now or punts right now.
But, again, because of the injuries, he seems like he's back to having to do that when they thought they weren't going to have to do that this season. Let's move on to the next game. I think we're all on the Cleveland Browns. Let's go to the Bengals-Titans. Cincinnati traveling to Tennessee. 2-1-2 teams. Bengals have been the disappointment, one of the biggest disappointments so far this season.
Absolutely.
A lot of people had them winning the Super Bowl. A lot of people had Joe Burrow winning MVP. They just flat out haven't gotten done. Joe Burrow had a terrible first 2 games when it comes to offensive output, had a decent one
and he's hurt.
last week. He's hurt. He's trying to come back. Again, he toughed it out to make sure they didn't go 0-3. But again, Over under 40.5 in this game. Again, another very low one. Money line, Cincinnati minus 135. Tennessee plus 115. Dev, what are you looking at with the Bengals Titans?
I mean, the Bengals have been disappointing, but the Titans just haven't been very good at all.
Trash.
Yeah, to say the least, especially their offense. So, like, I would take Bengals straight up in this one. Like, I don't think that there's any chance that the Titans can cover. The Titans offense has just been super frustrating. So it was like Ryan Tannehill came out and didn't even look like a quarterback who would play in high school, let alone the NFL in the first week. And then he had a decent game, and then now he looks pretty trash again, to use Barrett's word. So I just don't think that the Titans offense stands a chance against the Bengals.
Well, let me ask you guys this then. I don't see him making it through this game. I think it's going to be Willis. Either it's going to be Willis or the rookie's going to take over for him. I think he's going to be out of here. They can't continue to keep him as a starting quarterback. You can't because he's not even being serviceable right now.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he's lasted like 3 weeks. Honestly,
right.
I think it's because Vrabel's saying to himself, "No, we're a playoff team." Right, like
is that what they're still believing, that they're a playoff team? Because I don't think that they are.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm with you. Week 4, week 5, you start to say, all right, we got to go youth. But I think he came into the season. Yeah, I mean, he was the only one because we didn't think that. But he came into the season probably thinking Ryan Tannehill has the best chance of getting us to the playoffs.
Exactly.
These rookies don't. These young guys don't. And you were at the point where you had to just sort of pull the plug. And again, we talked about Cleveland's defense. They held Derrick Henry to 20 yards last week, 1.8 per carry. Another reason why Cleveland is so dominant. But again,
who they put in then? Who they put in? Will Levis or did they put in Malik Willis?
Malik Willis.
Okay.
You would think you would put in. I think he has a number 2 slot right now. So
and I think he's playing. He definitely improved from last year. Yeah.
So I'm with you. I'm with y'all. Cincinnati, they're gonna win this game.
Yep.
I'll go money line just in case it's tough. I won't go minus 2.5, but because there could be some surprises.
Why
I can't
is it so
see them
small?
losing.
Why is it I'm surprised that the Bengals aren't favored. I know the Bengals haven't looked totally right, but like the Titans,
they can't protect. They can't protect right now. When you can't protect a quarterback that's already hurt, that's tough.
You know what though? There is no better chance to get your offense looking like a Super Bowl ready team than to play a team like the Titans, who had 94 total yards last week on offense. So
wow.
Yeah. So don't bet Tannehill to go for 200 yards plus. Don't bet. You know what I mean? Even Derrick Henry is a great back. They weren't able to do anything with 66.5. Again, all on board with the Cincinnati Bengals winning this game. Next game, Rams Colts. Colts favoring this game -1. Colts surprisingly 2-1. Minshew came in. Minshew won games. He's looked pretty good. Again, Anthony Richardson, I believe, isn't playing.
I thought Anthony Richardson was playing.
Well, he's not on the board, so I'm not sure what the latest is on him. So, but again, after Gardner Minshew did what he did, I wouldn't be surprised if they hold out Richardson a little bit longer. Just all right, rookie, just because Richardson doesn't know how to chill out. He's trying to truck people. I'm like, yo, relax. I think he had the conversation after they played. Who was it? Was it Jacksonville? Someone talked to him after week 1 and said, I feel like it was Trevor Lawrence, but it might have been another quarterback. Hey, you got a long career. The opposing quarterback to the team you played walked up to him afterward and said, you got to not take hits, kid. You got to stop that. When the other team's quarterback walks up to you after the game and tells you to knock it off, that means you are wilding out in here. So, hold him out because that kid just doesn't have any regards for his upper body and running into people. So, and the Rams 1-2, but I feel like they've been solid. Yeah. Maybe just because they're better than what I expected them to be, which was trash. But Matthew Stafford has been good. They got the young rookie wide receiver who I don't even remember how to say his name. Puka something.
I just call him Puka because I cannot I cannot say his last name.
Yeah.
And saying Puka is kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly. Puka. So they have been really good. I actually have the Rams in this game. I think they're going to win this game. I think Rams are going to be the type of team that just give people a poke. Give people a little bit of problem. They're going to be a solid 8-8. I know 8-8 ain't a thing anymore.
Might win that division.
One of those teams that can win.
Not win that division, but second in that division.
Yes, one of those teams that give you some problems. Matthew Stafford, the veteran quarterback, is playing well. Defense, Aaron Donald still playing well. I think they'll beat the bad teams, lose to the good teams. I think that's the type of team that the Rams are this season. So I actually like the Rams in this game, money line, to outright win this game and do what they need to do. What you got?
I'm the same way. Because I'm not looking too much. Stafford just playing at a more consistent level right now. And I thought the run of the game was going to be trash once they let their running back go and traded him to Minnesota. But they've done well in having a balanced offense. So, Van Jefferson is finally coming out of his shell. Things at this level, you need consistency at the quarterback position. And Stafford is back being that consistent quarterback for him.
Yeah. So I actually have the Colts to be a contrarian here. I mean, it's basically a pick 'em, like Colts -1 in this one. But really, just because of, I think they win the battle in the trenches. I think the Colts defensive line is going to feast on the Rams offensive line. They're going to get to Stafford a lot, and that's going to limit what he can do in the pass game, which is what he does best. So I think that the Colts will have that advantage. I don't think it's going to be a super high-scoring game either. Right. The Colts pass defense has held opponents under 21 points through their last 2 games. Like, I just don't see either team putting up too many points in this one.
Yeah.
So maybe hit the under.
Okay. But Puka Nacua.
Ooh, crushed it. Nacua. Right. That and Tutu Atwell. So many fun names to say in this one.
It is fun. Listen, coming back with the Sunday spread, or again, getting into more games, don't forget that bonus bet. We'll give you our bonus bet later on in the next hour, okay? $10. It's easy money. It's free money. Make sure you make it. Sean Bell, Devan Kaney, Barrett Brooks. Once again, welcome back to the Sunday Spread, presented by BetMGM on the BetQL Network. Sean Bell, Barrett Brooks, Devan Kaney, kicking with you, going through all the games, the good ones, the bad ones, and the ugly ones. Let's get to this next one. The Buccaneers and the Saints, both 2-1, both playing okay football. Like, no one's scared of them, but you're 2-1. You're doing what you need to do. Your fan base should be happy with the results that they've had so far. Again, at New Orleans, Saints favored in this game 3.5, over under 39.5. Again, a lot of low over unders. Money line, Saints -175, Bucks +145. What are you looking at in this game, Barrett Brooks?
The quarterback situation, man. That's why I don't know how the Saints are favored right now. Yeah, I don't understand that, because I can't see Carr playing. So just from what I've seen, they're a good team with Carr being there. I don't know after that. Defenses are pretty good. Baker Mayfield plays great against everybody but the Eagles. So, I think that they have a lot to prove going into this game, because for the first time I've seen a team give up in the fourth quarter against another team. And to me, that's huge. I never thought I'd see a Todd Bowles team give up. They didn't call any timeouts with like 8 minutes on the clock. No timeouts the entire time. And allowed that Eagles team to just run all over them, do whatever they wanted to do in the fourth quarter. So I believe this is a get-back game where they need to make sure that they come out and make a good showing. Mm-hmm. They gotta go out there and show that they're a team that can compete. And this is the division game, so I like Tampa, and I'm going with the points. I'm liking Tampa, even though they're going down there to New Orleans. I'm going with Tampa.
Okay.
I also like the Bucks +3.5. I don't get why they're not favorites in this one. I know they're on the road, but like Barrett mentioned, Baker Mayfield's going to have a lot more time against this Saints line. He's indoors. They can keep it, within 3 points. Yeah. So I like the Bucks in this one.
Yeah, I do too. Although I'm not going to actually bet on this game on the win. If I had to, I would bet the Bucks. I'm going Mike Evans over 59.5 yards. We just talked about Myles Garrett not really getting a certain amount of fanfare. Mm-hmm. Mike Evans is really good every year, but is never mentioned when it comes to the star wide receivers.
Hall of Famer.
Yes, Hall of Fame. I think he's the most started a career with the most 1,000-yard seasons, like back all to all of them are 1,000-yard seasons.
All of them
for a decade. and no one talks about it.
Yeah, like I didn't know that until just now. So.
Yes, like no other wide receiver, I believe it says,
every single year he's played.
Yes, and I don't know how many years in a row it's been, but no other receiver has ever done it. Not Jerry Rice, because, again, Jerry had injury. No one else. And he does it every single year. Here's 1,000 yards. Here's, 8-9 touchdowns. Here's a Pro Bowl level performance every year out of me. So, to me, I'm just saying, Mike Evans, again, last week against the Eagles was a bad game by his standard. Bunch of balls that he should have caught. Still had 60 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
The week before that, he had about 150. So I think he's just going to be fed. I think he's going to just be Mike Evans, be who he is. So I'm guaranteeing, again, it's 59.5. All right. It's money. He's getting that. And I might go anytime touch, but 59.5 is easy money to me. That would be my bonus bet if I didn't have other people I guarantee my bonus bet to every week. But
is this Alvin Kamara's first game back?
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. So I don't know if I want to touch Kamara props yet, just because, like, you don't know with the first game back if he's going to go off.
His prop is 52.5.
Right. Like, how do you guys feel about that? Because I don't know. Like, when I first saw that he was coming back, I was like, oh, that could be an X factor. He could give the Saints the edge, and I might bet the over on all his props. But now I'm like, I don't know. He could be a little.
I want to do that too.
He could be a little rusty. We don't know. And the Bucs have a pretty good rush defense. Well, they have a good defense as a whole. So I don't know.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. If 52.5. Now, if you're telling me 35-ish, I'm like, all right, like, but he's definitely going to split time.
That's it, man. Right. Just jumping out like that, 52.5, just jumping out like that. Right. It's crazy. You know what I mean? I know he's a big time threat. He's an older guy who understands how to play this game. But the 52.5, just for his first game back, to me, and especially going against with White and David, two really, really good linebackers. I can't see that.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's go to the next game. We're in the Philadelphia studios, and we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. Commanders at Eagles. Commanders 2-1. Solid team. You would be, if you're that fan base, you're happy that you're 2-1. Eagles. I mean, you gotta be.
Really?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Eagles 3-0, and Philadelphia's 3-0, but the fan base ain't happy about their 3-0. So you know how we do here in Philadelphia. Philadelphia heavy favorites, -8.5, over under 43.5. Money line, Philly -400, Washington +310. A little bit of a get back game for Philadelphia, because the one real game they lost last week, like the one loss under Jalen Hurts' belt, not including the Super Bowl, is against the Washington Commanders, because they dominated the line of scrimmage last year in that game. They dominated with the running game, and then they made some, great key passes that they needed to make in key situations with McLaurin and them, and were able to win that game and keep it out of Jalen Hurts' hands. So with that said, Dev, I'll start with you. Eagles Commanders, again, a big spread. Is it big enough, or you think this is easy money?
It is definitely big enough. I like the Eagles covering the 8.5 points in this one. Divisional games are always unpredictable. Like we saw last season, the Commanders handed the Eagles their first loss. And they're still celebrating it, treating it like it was their personal Super Bowl. And I love that for them. But I think because of that, like we know Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, they're really competitive. They remember they're going to come into this game with that in mind. The Commanders, they played horribly against the Bills last week. Ooh. And that worries me in a way, because, they're going to want to come out and have a bounce back game, especially, offensively. I think the Eagles are, especially their defense, Eagles defense was amazing against the Bucs. So, just continue doing what you're doing there. But offense, I think they're getting closer and closer each game to that explosive passing offense that we saw throughout last season. I think Jalen Hurts is the perfect game for Jalen Hurts to get right, to get the ball to A.J. Brown, to Dallas Goedert, to Devontae Smith. I think that this is the perfect game for the Eagles offense to, finally fully click. And I think they're going to win by 2 scores at least.
Yeah, that's okay. That couldn't say any better myself, just looking at it. Just like, I'm going with the under with, Sam Howell, 216.5. That won't happen.
He's going to get eaten up. Right. I hope he does.
Well, he just got sacked 9 times by the Bills defense. He threw 4 picks in the game. I'm looking at, McLaurin, 53.5. That might be
It's not bad.
That might be the easiest bet right there. Going with the over for that. But after that, even Jahan Dotson at 38.5, I don't know if I would give that to him either. He's going to have so much pressure on him. It's going to be hard for him to throw the ball consistently. Rushing yards, when you have DeAndre Swift, 64.5, I think that's like taking Kaney away from a baby. You know what I'm saying? He might have that in the first half. So, to me, this 8.5 is really not enough. I thought it would probably be around, honestly, about 10, because this is a revenge game also. Even though Tyler Heinicke is not the quarterback, they still remember in their head how at the end of the game when BJ hit him, how he was laughing and making a mockery out of it. They still remember that. You know what I'm saying? They still remember they were 8-0 going into this game, and they lost to this team. That's a chip on their shoulder. So I see them blowing this Washington team out at home too, because the fans remember that also.
You know who else I see just really quick having a kind of breakout game for the Eagles is Hassan Reddick. He hasn't done much defensively. Exactly. He got his little mitt off finally this past week, so I think he finally gets to the quarterback, gets to Sam Howell, gets it going.
Sam Howell's gonna have a long day at the office.
He's gonna have a rough day.
Contrarian.
Oh boy.
We've all played it today. It's my time to play it now. Eagles win, Commanders cover.
What?
Eagles win, Commanders cover because I love their coaching staff. Now, I don't like Jack Del Rio. Let me make that clear, but he's great at his job. He has been great at his job. And after losing 37-3, first of all, I worked with Ron Rivera. I covered Ron Rivera when I was in Charlotte. I know how he motivates guys. I know what happens after losses. I know he's one of those dudes there that everybody loves and respects. I know how they're going to come out and play. I know how Jack Del Rio could scheme some things up. And a lot of people aren't believers, but I'm a believer in Eric Bieniemy seeing what Buffalo exposed and correcting things. So I think it being a divisional game.
That's
so I think it's going to be competitive because I think all three phases of those coaches know how to motivate. They know how to change things up. They can see, hey, this is our flaws in our schemes, and can come out with a better effort in the next game. And again, guys are going to be pissed off on that team that they lost 37-3. So I think they're going to come out with fire. I think they're going to come out with a solid game plan. And I think they're going to come out as a lot better team. And again, because it's a divisional game and we know each other so well, it often goes that way anyway. So I like the Commanders to cover. Again, I think the Eagles win by a touchdown. But I can see it being a situation where it's 27-20. And Jalen Hurts is, again, that Commanders defense is better than 37-3. So I think they compete. I think they play well, even if it's a late cover situation. But I think they can get it done. And I think Brian Robinson will get over 52.5 yards.
I like your breakout game for Hassan Reddick. But I also think it's going to be a breakout game for Dallas Goedert. He has over 100 yards. There's no way on God's green earth they're going to beat them like they stole something. They're going to beat them by double digits.
Okay. We're going to come back and talk about it.
Yes, we are. I can't wait. And Sam Howell, under 200 yards. Not 260, but under 200 yards in this game.
Now, let me say this.
And Eric Bieniemy, he's also Van Joseph's teammate at Colorado, just so you know.
Say, hey,
my frat brother also. So yeah.
If it was your frat brother, you have more faith in him right now.
I do have faith in him, but his quarterback is Sam Howell.
I get it.
He doesn't have much to work with,
right
over there.
I get it. I think it's going to be competitive. You know what I mean? I think you'll see the tush push have some problems.
Really?
I mean,
you think of all defense, Washington's defense is going to be the one to stop the brotherly shove.
Let me say this, though. I know y'all going to yell at me. The tush push. And everybody is complaining about it, right? And originally, I was on Philadelphia's side. But after hearing a couple things, I'm a little bit on the side of not liking the tush push. And here's why. And it's not that I don't like the tush push. I just think so many things are unfair to the defense. And I'm a defensive guy. Where they go, and Seth Joyner said earlier about the run option, how offensive linemen are now allowed to fire off 2 yards down the line, right? And it gives an unfair advantage to the defense because you can fire off 2 yards, even if it's a pass, that gives the defense problems because now you're telling, now you can lie to us is basically what he says. But there's so many things in the offense can do that the defense can't do. Like, the defense can't push you back. It's forward progress. They can't push you back and drag you all the way back, and now you lose 5 yards. So I am a fan of the tush push, but I would like the defense to have more advantages and for you to give the defense more things to do instead of continuing to. It's beginning to be a situation where the offense has every advantage and the defense can't do anything about it, and that bothers me. Now, again, I'm a fan of you offensive lineman, you offensive dude, right. But I think there's nothing wrong with the tush push. Let me make that clear. But I do think the defense at some point should be allowed to do some things to counteract what you allow the offense to do.
Like what? At this point, they can just stop it. If they can stop it, don't get mad. Don't get mad at our quarterback because he squats 600 pounds.
You know what my suggestion would be?
What's that?
That play shouldn't be over until the player's down. Well, none of this stopping forward progress. If you're allowed to push me forward, I should be allowed to push you back.
That could be done too, because
that would be my gift to the defense. Since the defense can't. Defense can't fall on the quarterback too hard. So
you're saying like if the offense doesn't get it and they push him back like 5 yards, then that's where the ball will land. If he goes down to 5 yards, I mean that's fine, but that would never happen to the Eagles because they get it every time.
But this isn't against the Eagles because I think again that's fine. That wouldn't happen to the Eagles, but I do think the defense should be given a bone at some point because it's like I was watching, I forget which play it was, where the lineman fell on the quarterback too hard on a sack. What the hell is that lineman supposed to do? What the hell is he supposed to do? What are we doing here? It's just unfair. So, I know, you guys are going to yell at me because this is Eagles Nation. But, the tush push, again, it's fine, but give the defense a chance at something.
Tell them to get in the weight room. That's all I'm saying.
Let's go to this game. Ain't much to talk about. Another bad game. Vikings Panthers. That's why I left this to the last part of this segment because it's the Vikings Panthers. Dev, what you got in this game? Again, both 0-3 teams, over under 46.5. The Minnesota Vikings, after being 12-13 win team last year, terrible this year so far. Mm-hmm. What you got in that game?
Another clash of the Titans here. I like the Panthers covering. I like the Panthers plus 4.5. They've yet to cover when they're underdogs by 4.5 or more. I think this could be the game that they do. The Vikings defense just isn't good. I believe Bryce Young is expected to be back this game. I don't know if he gives the Panthers offense, massive advantage here, but I think the Panthers can get it done. The Vikings also have a ton of injuries. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins anymore. Not that I ever did, but now I really don't. I don't care if it's a 1 p.m. game or an 8 o'clock game. I like the Panthers covering here.
Okay.
I like the Panthers covering also. Ooh. But I really do like Hawkinson over 47.5.
Ooh.
I'm not going with Jefferson, 99.5, but I will go with Hawkinson, 47.5. I like Addison, 39.5 also. So they'll probably be doubling Jefferson like they usually do, which is going to open up for everybody else.
I mean, that's a lot of offense. Again, I like one thing I know is Kirk Cousins throwing for 1,000,000 yards. I think Kev just said he's on pace for 6,000 yards. So I'm gonna go over.
See, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over the 274.5 because he's getting 300 every game. I'm gonna go Justin Jefferson over 99.5. I'm gonna go TJ Hawkinson over 47.5. Let's go over on all these things because you're playing a terrible Panther team.
Absolutely.
So I'm going over on all that yardage because I think again, Minnesota, they can't win games at the end. They can score and they can put up offense. So just throw a parlay on that. Throw a parlay on, and I'll talk about more about this later with our bets and our favorite bets. But throw a parlay on Kirk to go over 270.5, Jefferson 99.5, Hawkinson 47.5.
I didn't realize he had been throwing Panther that much. Honestly,
it's just it's disgusting. Like he's doing his thing when it comes to even against the Eagles, that game that they lost, and we're like, oh. Solid game. He had like 360.
Oh, yeah. His numbers in that game.
Right? Like, you didn't think he had 360.
The Eagles if you just looked at Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, you didn't think he had 360 watching the game, but when you looked up, he had 360. So
That's why I always tell people all the time, you want a Kirk Cousins or do you want a Jalen Hurts? You want a guy that throws for 300-something yards every time, or you want a guy that wins?
Fantasy-wise and betting-wise, I want Kirk Cousins.
Right.
But winning-wise, I want Jalen Hurts. So that's why I'm betting on Kirk to get those numbers. Listen, we'll come back with another break. Raiders, Chargers coming up next. That's whatever game. Pats, Cowboys, I think, could be interesting. 49ers, Cardinals. You know how I feel about that. Pretty good. It's the Sunday spread presented by BetMGM. All right, we're back. Let's keep it going. All right, it's the Sunday spread. Sean Bell, Devan, Kaney, Barrett Brooks, presented by BetMGM. Bonus bet, $10. All right, we're going to tell you what our bonus bets are shortly. Right now, let's continue through these games. Raiders, Chargers. Raiders 1-2. Chargers also 1-2 at, I was about to say San Diego, at LA. That feels disgusting. I'm sorry. Go back to San Diego.
Still not right. Yeah, it's still not right.
Go back to San Diego.
LA already doesn't have enough fans as it is. They don't need two teams. They're fine. They're fine.
The Chargers play road games every time they play. Like every other team packs it.
I still remember in 2017 when we went out there and played them in that soccer stadium, and it was 80%.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. It
was 80%, and that was actually the turnaround of the Eagles season too, when they started running the ball and that 60-yard run by LeGarrette Blount, and it really turned things in the right direction. But speaking of turning things in the right direction, both of these teams need to turn themselves, because they're right on the cusp. They're losing games by 1 and 2 points. This is going to be a major factor. It's a division game, and whoever wins this game will more than likely be ahead of everybody. As far as that are not in Kansas City, they're not Kansas City in that division.
It won't be the Raiders. I've been on record. Listen, I'm on the record about Jimmy G.
You still don't like him? What?
Jimmy G is not a good quarterback. Again, I get it. Kyle Shanahan sprinkled some magic sauce on him. You know how that goes. Like, and as Philadelphia people, we should know that, right? Trey Sermon came over here. We thought, Trey Sermon's gonna be a great backup back. That ain't work out. Remember when we got Nate Mullins and he was supposed to back up Jalen Hurts? Right. Because he looked like a really good backup quarterback with San Francisco, and then he came here and was going quickly. Like, again, those type.
Remember Goodwin also. Marquise Goodwin also.
Yes. So I just
got through talking about him.
Not good. And again, I know Goodwin has some injury issues again. But Jimmy Garoppolo ain't it. So, again, and he may or may not play. Again, he had limited in practice. It's going to be a game-time decision because he had a concussion. But if he's not all the way go, then how do you pick all the way go? And then, again, Devontae Adams off the board because we don't know about Jimmy G. But regardless, you have Jimmy G. So it's hard to understand if Devontae is going to have a big game because the quarterback play ain't going to be great regardless. So, I get to you, Dad, but I think the Chargers are going to smoke the Raiders. I think Justin Herbert's going to get back to it. I think he's going to throw a lot of yards. Again, a lot of this is me based off of my Raider hate.
I don't hate the Raiders as much as you, but I agree with you. I think the Chargers are going to win this one. Justin Herbert coming off, his best game so far of the season, even though we're still early in the season. I like Keenan Allen having a big game with Mike Williams out. That was my biggest takeaway from this.
That's a lot of yards, though. Like, it was like 80-something yards, wasn't it?
What, with Mike Williams?
No, with Keenan Allen.
84 and a half. 84 and a half. So 84 and a half.
That's
again, I don't.
Yeah, but he doesn't have many other options now.
Yeah, you're right.
If you expect an explosive game and you expect it to be over 30, again, the over-under on this game is 48 and a half.
They got to go to somebody, huh?
Got to go to somebody, and he's going to get a lot of targets. So
and Austin Eckler's back.
Old crafty veteran. I love Allen's game, too. I mean, I do. I love his game. I love how he plays. He's a big receiver. He's one of those receivers always going to get you the first down. He just stays hurt. When he's healthy, he's special. So, you know what? 84 and a half, I might go with that also. You're right. I might go with that also. Yeah. With Williams not being there, I might go with that also. Yeah.
And I don't think they keep up because, again, you look at the Chargers, right? When they played the Dolphins, they scored 34 points, right? They lost that game. They played the Titans, only scored 24. But then the next game, they had 28 points. So you're going to have a team that scores in the high 80s with Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert in his last game, 40 for 47, 405 yards, 3 TDs, 0 interceptions. I mean, that's as perfect as you can get.
I mean, to throw for that many yards with 0 interceptions, like just that as it is. Like, Justin Herbert's pretty good. Yeah, I get it. I'm finally buying into the Justin Herbert hype.
Keenan Allen had 215 yards last week.
Yeah.
So with Mike out and Keenan being the guy, like I understand why you say 84 and a half. And
Same with Josh Palmer is like sneaky good for the Chargers.
He's so
Austin
fast.
Eckler's back. Yeah. Like Justin Herbert has options, but Keenan Allen is one of his favorite targets. And without Mike Williams, I just think Keenan Allen's going to be the go-to guy.
Yeah. And even with Josh Palmer, again, if you believe there's going to be a lot of yards, it's 43.5. Mm-hmm. He's got to step up into the Mike Williams role, be the second guy. He's going to get more targets, more looks. So if you think the Chargers can score 30 points in this game and it's going to be on the back of Justin Herbert, I'm with you. I would actually think that would be a nice little parlay for the game. Justin Herbert over 279.5, Allen over 84.5, Josh Palmer over 43.5. Right? If you believe they're going to score 28 points.
It's a nice little same game parlay right there.
Yeah. So I like that. Let's go to the next game. Patriots Cowboys. Patriots 1-2, Cowboys 2-1. Cowboys got embarrassed last week. Absolutely embarrassed by the Cardinals.
I love to see it.
Punked them. They just absolutely out-physicaled them. The only player that had a decent game was Micah Parsons. But Micah was looking around like, hey, dogs, where y'all at? Y'all ain't following me? Right? Like, what's going on? He had a sack, couple tackles for loss, a couple QB pressures. A regular Michael Parsons game, but it wasn't as effective because everybody else around him weren't doing their jobs. Cowboys got embarrassed in that game, and now they're facing a team that can game plan even better. Dak is, you know what I mean? What did
Dak is ass.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. What did LaShawn McCoy say? Yep. That's how we looked in the clutch of last game. So the Cowboys got a lot to prove again. This is America's game. Bruh, America's game of the week when we could have had Dolphins Bills at 4:00, but whatever. Patriots Cowboys. Barrett, go.
All I'm gonna say is this: I have never been more happy to lose money than last week. I have never been so happy to be wrong than last week.
I tweeted that. It messed up a big parlay for me, and I was like, you know what? I'm okay with it.
Even Parsons for sacks. I think he was supposed to have 1.5 sacks. I love what he did. Thank you. I've never been so happy to lose. You can have my little change, easy $400 out the door.
You got him bouncing back.
$400? You bet on that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I try to avoid betting on the Cowboys because I hate them and I don't like to root for them. I don't like them to have good things ever. So. Sorry, Dallas. If anyone's watching me in Texas right now. But do you guys think like that? For me, I have the Cowboys winning this game, beating the Pats because they got embarrassed last week. Yeah. I think it's going to be a big bounce back game for them.
It's a bounce back game for them to come back, and I'm not betting on them this time, but just little things like Zeke over 27.5 yards. He's going to want to come back on his squad, his old squad, and he's going to try to dominate. So I mean, to me that's a safe bet. 27.5.
I like that.
That's a safe bet. Hunter Henry over 30.5. That's a safe bet. Really safe bet. After that, it gets kind of antsy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, Prescott over 233 yards. He's going to have over 233 yards and a half. But it's going to be, it's going to be like empty yards. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're going to. I wouldn't go with the points either. I'm not going with the points either.
You know what? I think the Patriots cover.
Yes.
And the Patriots have been sneaky good.
The Patriots barely beat the Jets last week.
Okay, but they beat the Jets. We know they can't. We know they can't score a lot, but you can't score a lot against them. The Eagles, that was a pretty close game. You know what I mean, right? Like they let up 25 against the Eagles. The Dolphins just scored 70, and they lost by only a score. They lost by 7, and lost to the Dolphins and held them to 24 points. So if they held the Dolphins to 24 and the Eagles to 25, what makes me think that the Cowboys can get over that? Can get over 25 a game? Can get over 24 in this game? And if they were able to stay within one score, within basically a touchdown, I feel like they can do the same against this team because their defense is so good. Their defense is game playing so well. Right? It's 6.5. They lost one game. The only game they lost by more than 6.5 was 7 points to the Dolphins with a much more explosive offense. So that's why I think, all right, again, I know their offense ain't any good, but their defense is going to hold you down, dog. And if Dak is playing like that, I don't see them scoring a lot of points against this team, right? Like 43.5, I can very well see that being under.
I hope you're right.
I think the Patriots cover in this game. I think it's going to be another one where the Patriots lose by 1 score.
I'll take it.
You're just like, listen.
No,
I'll take it, Sean, because I want that to happen. I don't think it'll happen, but I want it to happen.
Yeah, sorry, Barrett, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, CeeDee Lamb, 68.5. They're going to put the young rookie on him, Gonzalez. I would go with the under with that.
All right. Let's go quickly. 49ers, Cardinals. 49ers 3-0, Cardinals 1-2. Huge spread, the biggest spread of the week, 14. After the Cardinals got to win against Dallas, they think this is going to be a destroy, murdering. Over under 44. I'll let y'all go first before I give you what you know I'm going to give you.
The Brock Barrett. Purdy monologue about how he's going to score like 10 touchdowns by himself.
Yes, very much so. Would y'all like to go, or would you?
No, I think you got it covered.
Okay. You got it covered, man. I mean, come on, man. Money line 14. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. They're going to beat them by more than 14. They're still riding the high, in Arizona right now. And it's going to be at home.
At San Francisco.
They may not even score a point. They may not even have 100 yards total offense. That's how bad it's going to be.
Yeah. Listen, if you're going to beat the 49ers, it ain't going to be by flat out punking them. Like, they punked the Cowboys. You ain't punking the Niners, not with your squad. Maybe the Eagles can punk the Niners, but ain't nobody else really punking the Niners in the trenches.
Right.
And it's going to be a physical ball game. You ain't going to out-punk the Cardinals, not with the brand you got. So, yes, the 49ers are going to get that. Brock Purdy's going to throw for it. Like, guarantee. Brock Purdy's going to throw for over 220. He's going to throw for a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, it has the longest touchdown streak in 6 years, and the second longest one in 49er history. So bet him to have anytime tutty.
I'm mad.
Guarantee.
I'm mad. All them stats too. Man.
Guarantee.
So you think?
Guarantee.
You think the 49ers easily cover that 14-point spread?
It makes me 14 always makes me nervous no matter what it is. Like in my mind, I'd be like, yeah, this is a 30-10 game.
Right.
But it's still, you know what I mean? 14
it's still
always
a lot.
makes you.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah,
so 14,
14 for anybody in the NFL makes me go,
Yeah.
I wish I didn't say that to the Dolphins-Broncos spread, but it makes me say
point.
that. But again, that's going to be my bonus bet. I know we're getting to it later. $10 bonus bet. I'm a Purdy bonus bet person.
Mm-hmm.
Over 200 yards, because that's the thing. He's going to throw for a touchdown, and Christian McCaffrey is going to get an anytime touchdown. Bonus bet, parlay it, guarantee it. Because that's just what the 49ers do when they play. He always gets a little over 200. Christian McCaffrey always scores, and he always throws for at least one.
Okay.
It's just, and that's happened for every game of his career.
I'm not going to give you the satisfaction.
It's happened every game of his career.
I'm like, I know.
It's happened for every game of his career.
He wants us to, too.
It's happened for I know y'all are waiting. And the funny thing is, not the forecast is, next week they play Dallas. So then you'll be on my side.
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, you're going to come on over, even if it's just for a week. So that's okay with me. Listen, take another break. Again, you notice how they ain't have much to say about the Niners game, but that's all right.
Well, because, here's what I have to say about it. The 49ers are going to win. I don't know if they'll cover the 14-point spread. There you go.
Oh, look at this.
They're going to win. They're going to cover the 14-point spread. In fact, they'll have it by halftime and then extend the lead going into the fourth quarter.
Bet it. I guarantee. All right, coming up next, final segment. We're going to still go over the Chiefs-Jets game. So, interesting, but not really interesting. So, we'll talk about that. And plus, we'll give you our bonus bets and give you any type of prop bet that we think is going to go down. Once again, this is the Sunday Spread. All right, we're back with the final segment of the Sunday Spread, of course, presented by BetMGM on the BetQL network. Sean Bell, Devan, Kaney, Barrett Brooks still cooking, which let's go to the next game. Guys, I've reached my Travis Taylor Swift limit.
I was just going to say,
during that game last week that I said, I'm good. The fun has officially ran out, and it's already ran out for me. Did you see Travis has an ex that he dated from a reality show 7-8 years ago, who is on Inside Edition this weekend talking about their relationship and he cheated or whatever. I'm like, oh, so the 24-year-old, at the time, 24-year-old rich athlete who you met on a reality show that you kinda dated for 8 months.
Yeah.
Wasn't completely whatever to you. Like, and he wasn't like a bad person to him. He didn't do anything, but didn't stay faithful, I guess, to this reality relationship, and is on national TV talking about it. Like, what are we doing here?
I am a massive Taylor Swift fan. Like, I went to her tour. I love her. I listen to her music all the time. It was hard for me to even look into this game because I'm looking at an article right now, and it's like Swifties, Taylor Swift references, Bad Blood, putting her songs and lyrics into the freaking articles. And why?
And she's allegedly going to the game.
I know, and it makes me not want to watch it because I totally agree with you, Sean. Like, the second, we were all kind of trying to figure out if it was legit or not, and then as soon as they showed her, it's like, all right, she's there. Cool. Like, we don't need to keep cutting away to her every single time.
Yes.
We don't need to talk about what she's eating at the game, pictures leaking from the after party. I am so freaking over it. It is. I actually muted Travis and Taylor on Twitter, and it was the best decision I've ever made.
See, and as a Taylor Swift fan, you doing that is big, because I'm like, all right, dog. Like, all right, look. She's actually not doing, she's been fine. She's just famous. Like, it's hard. Yeah.
I actually can't imagine what it's like for her. It's like the NFL, I feel, as a whole, just really leaning way too far into the whole Taylor Swift thing.
But it's also fan bases.
Yeah. And the Swifties are little.
It's the fan bases are like, all right, dog. Like, now you're making it a thing where, and now all the football analysts are trying to sound cool by referencing it. And I'm like,
right. And it's not new or funny anymore. It's just it's old. The Taylor Swift puns. I can't do it.
Bro, I never said anything about this. I don't care. I'm like Gone with the Wind. Frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn. Like, what does that have to do with anything about how Kelsey catches the ball? I mean, I saw Swift and Kelsey with Jason Kelsey and that's what are we talking about? I don't know, because I don't know what songs Taylor Swift sings. Honestly, I don't listen to music. I just listen to radio, sports radio. That's all I listen to.
Wow, that's hardo.
I don't. Like, I stopped listening to music when Jodeci wasn't cool anymore. You know what I'm saying? So ever since then, I've been
90s?
Right, yeah. So ever since then, I've been, I'm in my office, or if I'm in my office, or if I'm in my garage working on a car or motorcycle, something like that. There could be music in the background as just like ambient noise. That's all I need is ambient noise. I don't listen to music.
As a player, do you make fun of a player who's dating someone that big? Like, I feel like if that was I would be making fun of Travis. Like, making fun of because Taylor isn't great. For Barrett. But it would be like, all right, Hollywood,
right. Like, how much trash is going to be talked to Travis now on the field
all the time,
just moving forward.
All the time. I can remember Jeremy Shockey was dating one of the Williams sisters.
Was he really?
Same thing. Well, they weren't dating. They were
Williams sisters. As in who?
I don't know which
Serena?
one it was.
You talking about Venus and Serena?
Yeah.
See, I missed that.
I know. I missed that one too.
I was playing for the Giants then. So I mean, it was all kind of crazy stuff going on. I've seen it all, I've heard it all, and I've heard some of the stuff that's been said out there, like, I bet she didn't hit it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is hit what? Wow. I just hit you. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah, man, it's craziness, man.
Yeah, you got to have all types of...
Bruh.
When it comes when it's famous like that, it's got to be all type of protection.
Well, I mean, look at this game. You got Taylor Swift on one side, on the other side, you got a quarterback that likes to sleep with his mom's best friend.
Yeah, we got a lot going on here.
Right.
I Taylor Swift's mom is single. Last time I checked, so Zach Wilson wants to get in on the action.
My goodness, I 100% forgot about all of that. We talk about the moms. This is a next level.
I don't even know
trash
what I'm saying, so you might have to cut this out, man. But MILF, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's a MILF hunter.
Yes,
you might have to cut that out, Kev. I don't know.
No, that's good. We can leave that in. You know what I mean? It's just
the thing that makes the Zach Wilson thing amazing is that he looks like he's 12 years old.
Yes,
he's the
right.
You wouldn't expect to do that.
And then you got to ask, like, what age are we talking? Like,
and bro,
he's talking about 45. We talking about 65. Like, what are you doing?
BYU of all places.
Hey, if I went to BYU. you, I would be frisky right after also. All right, then, you know what I mean?
You know
what I mean? Like, once I get out, I'm going wild. It's like, you know what I mean? If you come from a preacher's family,
bro,
once you become an adult, we digress. Anyway, so the actual game. So, what do y'all think? 8.5, 41.5 over under.
That should have been a 12-pointer also. Even though that defense is great on the other side, they just can't hold up to the amount of punishment they're going to take from that Chiefs offense. They don't have enough to compete, play after play after play, because they come in, their scoring comes in groves, they're just like waves. They just score. So can they compete? No. It's going to be trouble for them.
Yeah.
Very, very little offensive output from that Jets team.
My one question is, I think the Chiefs are going to win. Have we gotten an update on Mahomes' ankle? I feel like the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, everything is just overshadowed.
Oh, that's right.
All other things going on with the Chiefs. Like, he hurt his ankle, and now he's going to play on MetLife turf that we know is, not kind to players. So, if anything, I would just wonder if maybe Andy Reid's going to be a little conservative, with his offensive game plan. But I still think the Chiefs win.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I don't know what the first half, second half, but whatever the first half is, I'm going first half under. Just because I think the Jets defense can lock some people up for a time period. But then, because their offense does nothing, they get tired, they get exhausted. And by the end of mid-second quarter, they're like, I'm gassed because this team can't have a decent scoring drive or get first downs to help us out. So by the time they're in the second half, by the time the second half begins, it's an explosion by Kansas City's offense. So that's the only bet that I would look into, first half, second half scoring. But besides that, again, I think the Kansas City Chiefs win by double digits. I'm with you. I think they cover the 8.5.
I will say this. I will give one bet, and that's for 55.5 with Garrett Wilson yards. Just because he has nowhere else he can go with the ball. And Garrett Wilson is just so good. Plus, once again, he's from St. Louis.
The over-under on the first half scoring is 21.5. Man, I could see that be fine. 17-3, and you win that bet.
In the first half?
Yes, that would be winning. So I would go under on the 21.5 for first half scoring, and potentially being over, depending on what it ends up being in the second half.